Grandma gets harassed by bikers, then calls a name they fear. The Black Vultures biker gang had terrorized the small town for years. Led by the ruthless Damon, Blaze, Carter, they thrived on fear and intimidation. The residents lived in silent dread, hoping to avoid the gang's wrath. No one dared to stand up to them, fearing the consequences of defiance. On a sunny Saturday morning, the farmers' market buzzed with activity. Locals chatted and browsed the stalls, enjoying a rare moment of peace. Among them was Eleanor Ellie Sullivan, a beloved elderly woman known for her homemade jams and baked goods. With a warm smile, she arranged her wares, greeting customers with genuine kindness. The tranquility shattered as the roar of motorcycles filled the air. The Black Vultures had arrived, their leather-clad figures casting a shadow over the market. Damon dismounted his bike, a sneer on his face as he surveyed the crowd. The townspeople froze, their eyes averted, hoping to escape notice. Damon's gaze landed on Ellie's stall. With a menacing grin, he sauntered over, his gang members following closely behind. They surrounded her, their laughter cruel and mocking. Ellie stood her ground, her eyes meeting Damon's without fear. Well, what do we have here?" Damon sneered, picking up a jar of jam. "Looks like Grandma's been busy in the kitchen." The gang members snickered, their eyes glinting with malice. They began to shove Ellie's cart, knocking her carefully arranged goods to the ground. Glass shattered, and jam splattered across the pavement. The crowd watched in horror, too afraid to intervene. But Ellie didn't cower. She straightened her posture and looked Damon directly in the eye. With a calm, steady voice, she spoke a single name that made the gang's laughter die instantly. Jack Sullivan. The name hung in the air, a palpable silence descending upon the market. The Black Vultures exchanged uneasy glances, their bravado faltering. Damon's eyes narrowed, a flicker of recognition passing over his face. Ellie Sullivan was no ordinary elderly woman. She was the mother of Jack's Ghost Sullivan, a man whose reputation preceded him. Once a legendary enforcer, Jax had ruled the streets with an iron fist. His name was still whispered in fear and respect by those who remembered his reign. Damon stepped back, his jaw clenched. He knew the stories, the whispers of Jax's prowess and the loyalty he commanded. The gang had always steered clear of him, knowing better than to cross his path. But Jax had disappeared years ago, leaving the streets to the Black Vultures. "Jax ain't here to protect you, old lady," Damon growled, trying to regain control of the situation. "You're on your own." Ellie met his gaze unflinchingly. "I don't need protection. I have faith in the goodness of people, even those who have lost their way." Her words struck a chord, and Damon's eyes flickered with uncertainty. The townspeople watched, a glimmer of hope igniting in their hearts. For the first time, someone had stood up to the Black Vultures. Damon turned to his gang, his voice low and threatening. "Let's go. We've got better things to do than waste our time here." The Black Vultures mounted their bikes, revving the engines. As they rode away, Ellie began to clean up the mess they had left behind. The townspeople slowly emerged from their stupor, offering to help. A sense of unity and purpose filled the air. Little did they know that Jack Sullivan had already received word of what had transpired. In the shadows, he began to plan, determined to dismantle the gang's grip on the town and restore the peace that had been lost. News of Ellie's defiance spread like wildfire through the town. Whispers of hope and change filled the streets, as people dared to believe that the Black Vulture's reign of terror might finally come to an end. The gang, however, was far from finished. Damon seethed with anger, his pride wounded by Ellie's boldness. He gathered his gang, their faces twisted with rage and determination. They plotted their revenge, eager to assert their dominance and crush any glimmer of resistance. Meanwhile, Jack Sullivan returned to the town he had once called home. He moved silently through the shadows, gathering information and assessing the situation. Jax had left his violent past behind, seeking redemption and a new purpose. But the news of his mother's bravery and the gang's cruelty stirred something deep within him. Jax visited Ellie, their reunion filled with emotion and unspoken understanding. Ellie saw the change in her son, the man he had become. She knew that he would find a way to help the town without resorting to the violence that had once defined him. As Jax began to formulate a plan, the Black Vultures made their move. They targeted local businesses, smashing windows and demanding protection money. Fear once again gripped the town, as people realized that standing up to the gang came with consequences. Jax watched from the shadows, his resolve growing stronger with each act of intimidation. He reached out to old contacts, gathering allies and resources. The town needed a united front, a collective strength to stand against the gang. In secret meetings, Jax brought together a group of unlikely heroes, the shopkeepers, the farmers, and the everyday citizens who had grown tired of living in fear. They formed a covert network, sharing information and devising strategies to undermine the gang's power. The stage was set for a battle of wills, a struggle between those who sought to oppress and those who dared to fight for their freedom. The town held its breath, waiting for the decisive moment that would determine its fate. As the Black Vultures tightened their grip on the town, Jack Sullivan and his allies worked tirelessly behind the scenes. They gathered evidence of the gang's crimes, documenting every act of violence and intimidation. Jax knew that to truly defeat the gang, they needed to expose their actions to the world. Ellie played a crucial role, using her position as a respected member of the community to rally support. She organized secret meetings, bringing together those who had been too afraid to speak out. Slowly but surely, the town began to unite, finding strength in numbers and a shared purpose. Jax reached out to an old friend, a journalist who had once covered his own story of redemption. He shared the evidence they had gathered, urging her to shine a light on the gang's reign of terror. The journalist, moved by the town's plight, agreed to investigate and write an exposé. Meanwhile, the Black Vultures grew increasingly suspicious. They sensed a change in the air, a shift in the balance of power. Damon became paranoid, lashing out at anyone who dared to question his authority. The gang's unity began to fracture, as some members started to doubt the wisdom of their actions. Jax and his allies seized the opportunity. They launched a coordinated effort, using their network to disrupt the gang's operations. They intercepted drug shipments, sabotaged their vehicles, and cut off their sources of income. The Black Vultures found themselves on the defensive, struggling to maintain control. As the pressure mounted, Damon made a fateful decision. He called for a meeting with Jax, determined to put an end to the rebellion. Jax agreed, knowing that this was the moment they had been waiting for. The town held its breath as the two men faced each other, their paths forever intertwined. Jax stood tall, his eyes filled with determination and a newfound sense of purpose. Damon, once a figure of fear, now seemed small and desperate. The showdown was about to begin, and the fate of the town hung in the balance. The meeting between Jax and Damon took place in an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of town. The air was thick with tension as the two men faced each other, their respective allies watching from a distance. Jax stood calm and composed, while Damon paced restlessly, his eyes darting with suspicion. "You've caused quite a stir, Jax," Damon sneered, breaking the silence. "I thought you'd left this life behind." Jax met his gaze steadily. "I have. But I won't stand by and watch you terrorize innocent people. It's time for you to leave this town, Damon." Damon let out a harsh laugh. "And who's going to make me? You and your little band of misfits?" "No," Jax replied, a hint of a smile on his lips. "The truth will. The evidence we've gathered, the stories we've uncovered, they'll bring you down. The world will see you for what you really are." Damon's face contorted with rage. He lunged forward, his fist raised, but Jax anticipated the move. With lightning-fast reflexes, he dodged the blow and countered with a swift strike of his own. Damon stumbled back, his eyes wide with surprise. The warehouse erupted into chaos as the two sides clashed. The Black Vultures fought with desperation, realizing that their power was slipping away. Jax's allies, armed with the strength of their convictions, held their ground. Amidst the fray, Jax and Damon engaged in a brutal dance, trading blows and grappling for dominance. Years of pent-up anger and resentment fueled their battle, as the fate of the town hung in the balance. As the fight raged on, the sound of sirens pierced the air. The police, tipped off by Jax's journalist friend, arrived on the scene. The Black Vultures scattered, their loyalty to Damon crumbling in the face of impending arrest. Damon, battered and bruised, found himself alone, surrounded by the very people he had once terrorized. Jax stood before him, his eyes filled with a mixture of pity and determination. "It's over, Damon," Jax said, his voice steady. "You can't run from the consequences of your actions anymore." In the aftermath of the clash, the town was left reeling. The Black Vultures had been defeated, their power shattered, but the scars they had left behind would take time to heal. The residents emerged from their homes, tentatively at first, as if unsure whether the nightmare had truly ended. Ellie Sullivan stood at the heart of the town, a beacon of strength and resilience. She comforted those who had suffered, offering words of encouragement and hope. Her unwavering spirit inspired others to step forward, to lend their support and begin the process of rebuilding. Jax worked tirelessly alongside the townspeople, using his skills and knowledge to help restore what had been lost. He mended broken windows, repaired damaged storefronts, and organized community gatherings to foster a sense of unity and purpose. As the days turned into weeks, the town began to transform. The streets, once haunted by fear, now buzzed with life and laughter. Neighbors who had once kept their distance now greeted each other warmly, sharing stories and lending a helping hand. The journalist's exposé had sent shockwaves through the region, shining a light on the Black Vultures' crimes and the town's resilience. Support poured in from far and wide, with volunteers and resources arriving to aid in the rebuilding efforts. Jax and Ellie found themselves at the center of this transformation, their bond stronger than ever. They shared moments of quiet reflection, marveling at the change they had helped to bring about. Jax, once a man haunted by his past, now found purpose in nurturing the seeds of hope and unity. But even as the town celebrated its newfound freedom, Jax knew that the road ahead would not be easy. Healing takes time, and the scars left by the Black Vultures ran deep. There would be challenges to face, wounds to mend, and trust to rebuild. Yet, as Jax looked around at the faces of his fellow townspeople, he saw something that gave him strength, a flicker of determination, a spark of resilience that refused to be extinguished. Together, they would face whatever lay ahead, united in their commitment to creating a better future. As the town slowly healed, Jax and Ellie found themselves at the forefront of a new initiative. They proposed the creation of a community center, a place where people could gather, learn, and grow together. The idea was met with overwhelming support, as residents saw it as a symbol of their collective strength and resilience. Jax threw himself into the project, working alongside volunteers to transform an abandoned building into a vibrant hub of activity. They painted walls, installed new fixtures, and created spaces for workshops, classes, and events. The community center became a labor of love, a testament to the power of unity and purpose. Ellie, with her gentle wisdom and nurturing presence, became the heart of the center. She organized programs for all ages, from art classes for children to support groups for those struggling with the aftermath of the gang's reign. Her kindness and empathy touched the lives of countless individuals, helping them to find solace and strength in the company of others. As the community center thrived, so too did the town. Businesses reopened, new ventures were launched, and a sense of optimism filled the air. The once empty streets now bustled with activity, as people rediscovered the joys of connection and collaboration. Jax watched with pride as the town he had once called home transformed before his eyes. He saw the impact of small acts of kindness, the ripple effect of compassion and understanding. In the faces of those around him, he recognized the same determination and resilience that had guided him on his own path to redemption. But even as the town celebrated its triumphs, Jax knew that vigilance was crucial. The Black Vultures may have been defeated, but the shadows of the past had a way of lingering. He worked closely with the local authorities, sharing his knowledge and expertise to help prevent any future threats. Together, Jax and Ellie became the guardians of the town's newfound peace. They nurtured the seeds of hope and unity, knowing that with each passing day, the roots of their community grew stronger, anchoring them against the storms that lay ahead. As the months passed, the town continued to flourish under the guidance of Jax and Ellie. The community center became the beating heart of the town, a place where people from all walks of life could come together and find support, inspiration, and friendship. One sunny afternoon, Jax found himself in the center's garden, tending to the newly planted flowers and vegetables. The garden had been Ellie's idea, a way to teach children about the wonders of nature and the importance of nurturing growth. As he worked, Jax marveled at the symbolism of the garden, how it mirrored the town's own journey of healing and renewal. Lost in thought, Jax almost didn't notice the approaching figure. It was a young man, barely out of his teens, with a guarded expression on his face. Jax recognized him as one of the former members of the Black Vultures, a lost soul who had been swept up in the gang's destructive influence. The young man hesitated, his eyes filled with a mixture of uncertainty and longing. Jax set down his tools and approached him, his manner open and non-threatening. "I've seen you around," Jax said gently. "Is there something I can help you with?" The young man shifted his weight, his gaze darting to the ground. I don't know why I'm here. I wanted to say I'm sorry. For everything." Jax placed a hand on the young man's shoulder, his touch firm but reassuring. "It takes courage to admit that. But you're not defined by your past. You have the power to choose a different path, to make a positive change in your life." Tears welled up in the young man's eyes, and he nodded, his voice choked with emotion. "I want to do better. I want to be part of something good." Jax smiled, his heart swelling with pride and understanding. "You already are. By being here, by taking this step, you've shown that you have the strength to change. And we're here to support you, every step of the way." As the two men talked, the garden around them seemed to come alive, a testament to the power of second chances and the resilience of the human spirit. In that moment, Jax knew that the town's transformation was not just about physical rebuilding, but about the healing of hearts and the rekindling of hope. The encounter with the young man in the garden proved to be a turning point for Jax and the community center. Word spread quickly, and soon, more and more former gang members began to seek out the center, drawn by the promise of a fresh start and a supportive environment. Jax and Ellie welcomed them with open arms, understanding the challenges they faced and the courage it took to break free from the cycle of violence and despair. Jax and Ellie worked tirelessly to create programs specifically tailored to the needs of these young men and women. They offered job training, mentorship, and counseling services, helping them to build the skills and confidence necessary to reintegrate into society. The community rallied around these efforts, with local businesses offering employment opportunities and residents volunteering their time and expertise. The town became a model of redemption and second chances, a shining example of what could be achieved when people came together in the spirit of compassion and understanding. As the former gang members found their footing, they began to give back to the community that had embraced them. They volunteered at the community center, helped with neighborhood cleanup projects, and shared their stories with others, inspiring hope and resilience in the face of adversity. Jax watched with pride as these young men and women blossomed, their eyes shining with a newfound sense of purpose and belonging. He knew that the path to redemption was not always easy, but he also knew that with the right support and guidance, anyone could find their way back to the light. Ellie, too, found joy in the transformations she witnessed. She saw echoes of her own son's journey in the faces of these young people, and she knew that every small victory was a testament to the power of love and forgiveness. As the town continued to heal and grow, Jax and Ellie knew that their work was far from over. But they also knew that they had laid the foundation for a brighter future, one built on the principles of unity, hope, and the belief that every person deserved a chance to become their best selves. With each passing day, the town became a beacon of light, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the transformative power of community. And at the heart of it all, Jax and Ellie stood tall, their love and dedication guiding the way forward. As the town celebrated the first anniversary of the community center's opening, Jax found himself reflecting on the incredible journey they had all undertaken. The once fractured community had become a tapestry of strength and unity, woven together by the threads of compassion, resilience, and hope. The anniversary celebration was a joyous affair, with people from all corners of the town coming together to share stories, laughter, and tears. They marveled at the transformations they had witnessed, not just in the physical landscape of the town, but in the hearts and minds of its residents. Jax stood at the center of it all, his heart full of gratitude and pride. He looked around at the faces of those he had come to know and love, seeing in them the same determination and spirit that had guided him on his own path to redemption. As the festivities drew to a close, Jax took the stage, his voice filled with emotion as he addressed the crowd. Today, we celebrate not just the anniversary of this community center, but the triumph of the human spirit, he began, his eyes shining with conviction. We have faced darkness and adversity, but we have emerged stronger, united in our commitment to building a better future for ourselves and for generations to come. He paused, his gaze sweeping across the sea of faces before him. Each and every one of you has played a part in this transformation. Your courage, your compassion, and your unwavering belief in the power of second chances have made this possible. And for that, I am forever grateful. As the crowd erupted into applause, Jax felt a hand slip into his own. He turned to see Ellie standing beside him, her eyes brimming with tears of joy and pride. Together, they stood hand in hand, a symbol of the unbreakable bond that had brought the town back from the brink of despair. And in that moment, Jax knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, united in their love for each other and for the community they had helped to build. In the days following the anniversary celebration, Jax found himself grappling with a new challenge. Rumors had begun to circulate that Damon, the former leader of the Black Vultures, had been released from prison and was making his way back to the town. The news sent a ripple of unease through the community, as memories of the gang's reign of terror resurfaced. Some feared that Damon's return would undo all the progress they had made, plunging the town back into the depths of fear and despair. Jax, however, refused to let the specter of the past overshadow the bright future they had worked so hard to build. He called a meeting of the town's leaders, determined to address the situation head-on. As they gathered in the community center, Jax stood before them, his voice calm and resolute. "We have come too far to let the shadows of our past define us," he said, his eyes locked on the faces of those around him. "Damon may be returning, but we are not the same town he once terrorized. We are stronger, more united, and more resilient than ever before." He paused, letting his words sink in. "We will not cower in fear or surrender the peace we have fought so hard to achieve. Instead, we will stand together, as a community, and show Damon that he no longer holds any power over us." The room erupted into applause, as the town's leaders pledged their support and commitment to maintaining the hard-won progress they had made. They organized neighborhood watch groups, strengthened ties with local law enforcement, and redoubled their efforts to create a safe and nurturing environment for all. Jax knew that the road ahead would not be easy, but he also knew that they had the strength and determination to weather any storm. With Ellie by his side and the unwavering support of the community, he knew that they could face whatever challenges lay ahead, secure in the knowledge that they were building a legacy of hope and resilience that would endure for generations to come. As the town braced itself for Damon's return, Jax and Ellie worked tirelessly to ensure that the community center remained a beacon of hope and stability. They organized workshops and support groups, providing a safe space for residents to share their fears and concerns, and to draw strength from one another. Jax also reached out to his former contacts in the criminal underworld, gathering intelligence on Damon's movements and intentions. He learned that the former gang leader had emerged from prison a changed man, ravaged by guilt and regret over the pain he had caused. Armed with this knowledge, Jax made a decision that would forever alter the course of the town's history. He arranged a meeting with Damon, determined to confront the man who had once been his bitter enemy. The meeting took place in a secluded corner of the community center's garden, amidst the blooming flowers and the gentle rustle of leaves. As Damon approached, Jax could see the weight of the years etched into his face, the once fierce eyes now haunted by the ghosts of his past. "I know why you're here," Jax said, his voice calm and measured. "You seek redemption, a chance to make amends for the wrongs you have done." Damon nodded, his gaze fixed on the ground. "I cannot undo the pain I have caused," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "But I want to try, to do whatever I can to help rebuild what I once sought to destroy." Jax studied the man before him, seeing in his eyes the same desperation and longing for a second chance that he had once felt himself. In that moment, he knew that the path to true healing lay not in vengeance or retribution, but in forgiveness and understanding. "Then let us work together," Jack said, extending his hand in a gesture of peace. "Let us show the world that even the darkest of pasts can be transformed by the light of hope and compassion." As Damon took his hand, Jax felt a surge of emotion, a sense of purpose and destiny that had guided him to this moment. Together, they would write a new chapter in the town's history, one of redemption, unity, and the triumph of the human spirit. The news of Jax and Damon's alliance spread quickly throughout the town, sparking a wave of speculation and curiosity. Some were skeptical, wondering if a man with such a dark past could truly change. Others saw it as a testament to the power of forgiveness and the resilience of the human heart. As the weeks passed, Damon worked tirelessly to prove himself, volunteering at the community center and using his knowledge of the criminal underworld to help keep the town safe. Slowly but surely, he earned the trust and respect of those he had once terrorized, his actions speaking louder than any words ever could. Jax and Ellie watched with pride as the town continued to thrive, the seeds of hope and unity they had planted taking root and blossoming into a vibrant, loving community. They knew that the journey was far from over, that there would always be challenges and obstacles to overcome. But they also knew that they had the strength and the courage to face whatever lay ahead, secure in the knowledge that they were part of something greater than themselves. As the town gathered for a final celebration, Jax took the stage once more, his heart full of gratitude and love. He looked out at the sea of faces before him, seeing in them the reflection of his own journey, the transformation that had taken place within himself and within the community he called home. "Today, we stand together as one," he said, his voice ringing out clear and strong. "We have faced the darkness and emerged into the light, united in our commitment to building a better world for ourselves and for generations to come. And though the road ahead may be long and winding, we will walk it together, hand in hand, our hearts filled with the unshakable belief that anything is possible when we stand as one." As the crowd erupted into applause, Jax felt a sense of peace wash over him, a deep knowing that he had finally found his true purpose. And with Ellie by his side and the love of his community surrounding him, he knew that he was exactly where he was meant to be, a beacon of hope and inspiration for all who would follow in his footsteps.